I was going to wait for the Penguin to finish before giving a review of the season, but every night I stream I'm asked if I'm watching it and what my thoughts are, and I decided, you know what? Time to just throw the meat on the table. I'll let you have a little peek into my noggin here with my perspective on the Penguin. I think it's the best show of the year. I think it absolutely slaps. I watch it every Sunday right when it drops, and I am scratching at my neck before I get my fix. I am loving the show. There's only a couple episodes left, and I'm pretty confident that they're not going to fumble it. Now that I say that, I've probably put some evil out there in the world, and it's going to absolutely suck major asshole in the last couple episodes, but if that happens, I'll look like a real fool. I'll look like an absolute clown, but I really think that it's going to stick the landing. I said it. Hey, let the cards fall where they may now. I think the show has just been such a surprise. I didn't have high hopes for it. It wasn't even on my radar until I saw Colin Farrell talking about how miserable it was to get in a costume for the Penguin. And then I started watching it, and I was hooked right away. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, if he doesn't win an award for this performance, then the whole system is truly fucking rigged. I think he has done such a great job. This is the only character in any series this year that has actually made me audibly giggle. Like, he walks the perfect line of being like, really comedic at times and super serious at times. And even when he's being comedic, it's being serious. It's not like he's going up there with like a stand-up routine like, hey, what's the deal with salt shakers or something. He is just so naturally entertaining in this role. I couldn't help but laugh at some of the shit that he was saying in the most tense situations. I absolutely love him in this role, and it's a damn shame that I don't think he will ever come back as the Penguin, because the way he describes the makeup process makes it sound like a fucking saw trap. But damn, what a great season we're getting out of him for it. Like, the star that burns brightest burns out quickest, I guess. This shit is extraordinary. The writing on the show, I think, is so good. I went into this expecting some kind of like normal superhero cape shit type thing where it wasn't really going to be all that serious and it was going to be pretty generic. It's so far from that. This is not a superhero show at all. Yes, it's set in the Batman universe, but this is much more of like a mafia crime style show. It's all about the Penguin conniving, scrapping from the bottom to get to the top, doing anything necessary, lying to people, manipulating people, killing people, and making a friend along the way that he kind of corrupts to his side and becomes like the father figure of. His name is Victor. Victor is a great character. Like, Colin Farrell is by far the best part of the show, but it's not like he's putting the show on his back. It's not like it's entirely on his shoulders for this show being good. Everyone around him is really good too, like Victor, like Sophia Falcone. Sophia Falcone is extremely good too. Oz got her with the classic Schmeckeldorf, where in order to go from just a driver in the Falcone family, he may have snitched on Sophia and embellished a couple of details about her to Carmine, which had her locked up in Arkham for a decade, where she was tortured and just broken. And now she's out, and she's looking for revenge, she's looking for power, and she is so good. I just think the entire world they're building here really has brought Gotham even more life. To see like the underbelly of Gotham, to see the drug trade, to see all of the crime families, to, like, it's I can't glaze it enough, to be honest. There's not enough cum in my sack to glaze it. Like, it's so surprisingly good, because I went in with no expectations and I've been blown away. I really hope that I'm not proven wrong about it sticking the landing, because it has set up so many great pieces that I feel like it's a fucking layup at this point. Every episode keeps one-upping itself. Like, I think it is only getting better. There hasn't really been a moment where I was like, oh, it's starting to fall off a little bit. Ooh, there's some cracks here. It hasn't. It's been so fucking tight. This shit is tighter than my pussy, and it is staying that way. It is not floundering. It's not going in weird directions. The only thing that I was a little skeptical of was the most recent episode had a pretty significant time jump. I'm not talking like years or anything. This isn't going to be like the post-time skip arc for the Penguin. Like, he's not going to come out here with a devil fruit power or anything. But it starts with him, well, the episode prior ends with him having the start of something, a little bit of something. And then this episode picks up with him now having a lot of something and a lot more of things, without getting into spoilers. And he kind of fills you in with how they got there, but the show just been like a grind. Like, you're seeing him grind, and now all of a sudden a lot of time passes, and I guess things just were kind of smooth sailing. So that was a little abrupt, but it's not a big deal. Like, it's not even a complaint because I like where it goes right after that. It immediately picks up with the most intense it's ever been. Now with, oh, I don't want to get into spoilers, but it's getting even more extreme. And I just really think that they've done a great job with having the main character be the bad guy. You know he's a villain, you know he's evil, but you can't help but root for him sometimes. This is a guy that started from the bottom. He was dealt a terrible hand in life. You see his mother is struggling with an illness that's taking away her mind. It's literally rotting her. And Oswald's doing everything he can to provide for her, to keep her safe, to keep her alive. And he gives these speeches to like the crime families about what he fights for. And it's, you know, the elite in Gotham are doing so much corrupt, shady shit. Like at one point they are literally stealing the power from Crown Point to power their fucking mansions and City Hall and shit. So the people in Crown Point are suffering. They have no heat. They have no food, no water, nothing. So like, yes, Oswald is definitely a bad guy. Like the murder, big thumbs down. Like you don't really like murder, but I mean, how do you not like at least understand how a character gets to this point? That's the sign of good writing, where you can kind of see where the villain is coming from. Now, of course, he's not a good guy. He's no fucking saint or anything. Nobody in the show is. I hate to keep comparing everything to Warhammer, but it's very much like Warhammer 40k, where everything's just grimdark. Like, there are no heroes, it's only villains, and only them doing things that are sensible, albeit morally wrong. Like, Oswald obviously wants power, but with the power comes him wanting to help his mother, help the people around him, and kind of like uplift like the ones that matter to him to a certain degree. Sophia Falcone, her whole family just fucking threw her to the wolves to be tortured in Arkham, knowing full well she did nothing wrong. And like, you can see where these characters are coming from. They're not good guys, but they're not like cartoonishly evil, mustache twirling villains. And I can always appreciate that because that is a hard thing to do. And the show just does it so well. Now, I don't want anyone to go into this show under the wrong impression. This is not like a high-octane action show. You're not going to be getting a ton of scenes with like heavy chugging power chords while guns are blaring, titties flopping, and blood spraying. It's not that kind of show. There is action in it, you know, gunfights that happen from time to time, but that's probably the smallest part of it. It's not a slow show. By no means is this show a slow burn at all, really. In fact, things move along a lot and it stays very tense. It's just not really an action-oriented show. And when there is action there, it's good, but it's nothing like crazy. It's nothing you haven't seen before. It's normal firefights. Don't expect the Penguin to be doing like John Wick maneuvers, because he's not going to be doing that. He's going to sit there like a fucking turret, just blasting everyone fearlessly. And he does it really well. And there is some moments of like some gore that happens, like a character getting shot in the neck and then pissing blood out of it and all of that. But it's not the focal point of the show. The show is really at its best when you're watching Oswald Cobb get into a very sticky situation with a ton of his lies that are starting to collapse around him, and them starting to figure out, oh, this guy's a fucking weasel and we'd be better off killing him. And they have him in what appears to be a checkmate position, and you have to wonder, how the fuck is Oz going to get out of this? And somehow he's been finding ways that don't feel like just ass pulls or anything. They feel so logical. The way he's able to use people is incredible. Like, it's all very sensible. Like, nothing feels unearned or like you have to suspend disbelief. It all feels like, oh, like he's making a good point. I can see why they wouldn't just put a bullet between his eyes. Like, I can see why people would get into bed with Oz after what he was just saying. And it keeps him alive, and he keeps slowly but surely gaining power, gaining favor, getting a lot under his belt as he's working in the shadows, doing the dirty work. It's just so good. I really do think The Penguin is the best show on TV right now. For me, it's my favorite show of the year so far. I really hope I don't look like an absolute fucking buffoon when the season finale airs in a couple weeks and it's trash. That would be awful. That would truly be a shame. But for now, love the show. I do highly recommend it. I think it slaps. That's about it. See ya. The Penguin just ended, and it's the best show of 2024. Probably one of the best shows I've seen in quite a few years. I have now made 2 videos glazing this, and I haven't gushed this hard about a show since Breaking Bad. I want to be clear though, I don't think The Penguin is up to Breaking Bad level or anything. I'm just saying I haven't been this excited about a show in so long. I thought Shogun had 2024 in a titty twister. I thought that was on lock to be the best show of the year. Not the case. The Penguin came around and it showed there's a new sheriff on the block. I was pretty confident that this would be a good ending. The show has been extremely consistent. It hasn't really fallen off at any points. There was never any moments where I was like, ooh, that was shitty. They really stunk the place up with that. There was never any ass pull moments, right? Like, there wasn't even a ton of Batman fan service. In fact, there was no Batman fan service, spoiler, until the very end, which I think is earned. They absolutely earned that little bit of fan service at the very end where it felt rewarding. It felt like a great payoff. Like, there was never any moments in the show where I was concerned that it was going to start to fall apart and fumble, so I was confident that the ending would be good, but I didn't expect it to be this good. This had me going, wowee. Like, it was extraordinary. Just like when your mother calls me up to go to her house, I was blown away. Pretty much everything you could do right with an ending, they did, and then some. I have no complaints about the ending at all. I do want to talk about it though, and it's going to get spoilery. I'll save that for a moment. I think the show is an absolute must-watch, even if you hate Batman. If you wake up in the morning just to hawk a loogie on a Batman comic book because you can't stand the character and you can't stand the world that's been built with it, I still think you might end up liking this show. Because it has nothing to do with Batman or anything even comic book adjacent. It is truly a crime drama where you follow a despicable villain that never at any point feels like it's just cartoonishly evil for the sake of it. This show does an unbelievably good job of walking the fine line, tap dancing on the line between too far and just enough, where you can kind of root for him, but then you're always reminded, no, this guy's fucked. This guy is evil. This is bad news. This guy's a real jerk. Like, he'll do anything for power. And he'll have vulnerable moments with Victor, who kind of becomes the heart of the show, and the relationship between Victor and Oswald. Like, their chemistry is great. Like, they sell it in a big way. You get to feel so much emotion from both characters. So at no point when you're watching Oswald, he's the main character, do you ever feel like, oh man, I can't wait for this guy to die. Like, you're always just wondering, how is he going to accomplish his goals? And what's he going to do when he gets there? Like, I know he cares about power, but he also shows multiple times, like, he does seem to, like, understand the people around him. Does he actually care about them? And then he'll do something where you're like, he probably doesn't care about him. Like, he just treats everyone as NPCs in his game. And even his relationship with his mother in the finale gets a whole new dimension to it. Now, the show's not perfect, and I don't want anyone thinking that I'm saying it is. That's an unrealistic expectation going into it, because it's not. It's got flaws, just not very many of them. The main thing I didn't like with the decision they made, this is big spoiler, huge spoiler warning, now that that's out of the way, I did not like what they did with Salvatore Maroni. I feel like the character was heavily underutilized. I understand he's not like the focal point there, but he was built up to be a big player, and he did play a sizable role, for sure. I don't want to downplay that. But at no point did he ever really feel like a genuine threat to Oswald. And the way they kill off Maroni, I just thought was really underwhelming. It kind of did like the early Game of Thrones thing where they kill off a major character in a less than satisfying way, because it's realistic. Not every character is not everyone's gonna have like this big send-off climactic death where they die in like a hail of bullets, you know, while they're strangling 2 bears in each arm, right? They're not gonna have like this crazy death. Explosions behind them, blood, guts, and titties all over the place, and they sail straight to Valhalla. But it still just didn't feel earned from Oswald in the moment. What ends up happening is, as Maroni and Oswald are in a scuffle, they're fighting each other, it's getting pugilistic. Maroni's winning. Maroni is beating Oswald's ass, and he has the advantage until he suddenly has a heart attack and dies. And Oswald recognizes that he didn't really win fair and square. Of course, he then tries to convince himself that he did, but he's yelling at the body of Maroni like, why'd you do that? Get up! And then he just starts shooting him saying, I won, I won. But it's clear he knows that he just won from RNG. he didn't actually fully beat Maroni on his own power there. And I think that was the purpose of it, but it's still, in the moment, like, it just didn't feel like a satisfying send-off for this character that I feel like should have had a bigger role to play in the grand scheme of things. But that's not even a huge complaint. Like, it didn't bother me that much, because where it goes from there, like what happens as a result of his death, I think is really strong. It's just, I don't know, I would have liked if they didn't have him die in that manner, especially with all of the pain and suffering that he had gone through at the hands of Oswald, and then to buy the farm like that, you know, it's just not that satisfying. That's really the only thing I actually didn't like. Everything else in the show I liked a lot. I do think there are some maybe pacing things that people won't love, especially early on. Like, my parents started watching it, my dad said that it's a little slow for his taste. Even though a lot of the shows my dad likes are very slow shows, he felt that this one had a lot of plotting before you started to see a lot of the plans come together. I disagree, but I do think that that's a valid concern for some people that might not want to come into this and experience like a slower build up to things, because it's not an action focused show. It's all about Oswald outsmarting, manipulating, conniving, and crawling his way to the top of the food chain. And he fucks as many people as it takes to get there. Bodies piling up, lies piling up, deceit out the wazoo, murder out the wazoo, all of it capped with an incredible performance from Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Absolute masterclass. Really, everybody did an amazing job. Victor, Sophia, like, every character in here was so good. Frances, which is Oswald's mom, just everyone brought their A game here. It was so good. The performances help elevate everything here, because even the best material, if it's delivered flat, isn't going to land. But holy shit, you can tell they poured their heart and soul into it. It was passionate, and I really think they've made something special with it. All the characters are super fleshed out. And the thing that I love about it, and what I briefly touched on earlier, is nothing feels like some kind of ass pull. Even when Oswald's back is up against the wall, where it seems like it's checkmate, somehow he weasels his way out of there. He's very slimy, but it never feels like he didn't earn that. Like, he has all of these pieces in play that he has manipulated and all of these plans that he's made, and somehow he's able to always just use his silver tongue to get out of those situations and have those things start to work together. And it just doesn't feel like it's some random act of plot armor. It just feels like, damn, this guy is crafty. But now let's talk about the finale specifically, because holy shit, it was good. That was super strong. So I think probably the biggest standout of the finale that most people are going to be talking about is Victor's death. Victor was a beloved character in the show, an absolute breakout superstar, because, as I mentioned, Victor was kind of like the heart of the show. It was a very strong emotional connection, and it helped to humanize Oswald in like the darkest moments, but never too much. Oswald never gets fully humanized. He's always still an asshole, like an evil villain. But Victor's there as like a pure person in the beginning that slowly gets more and more corrupted by Oswald, and he does more and more fucked up things because Victor lost his family, and Oswald is the only father figure that he's had since. And Victor even says that Oswald's like family to him, which is the wrong thing to say to someone like Oswald, but we'll get to that in a moment. But Victor, even when he does get to this point where he starts killing people, he starts helping others to kill people, he's still viewed as a sympathetic character. He still comes across as like this good-hearted person, even in like the most grim situations, because we've seen where he comes from, and we've seen what Oswald has kind of done to him, like mentally, where he's, and it's even mentioned in the finale in a flashback with Frances and Rex, where Rex said, if you want someone to be loyal to you, you need someone that's looking for a father. And it's kind of alluding to Oswald's relationship to Victor. So it's always kind of understandable how Victor is in the position that he is and why he keeps trying to help Oswald. And Victor becomes a very strong player in this crime game. He saves Oswald twice. He is solely the reason Oswald didn't lose in the end. He saved him again, and it ultimately led to Oswald becoming king of Gotham, the king of the Gotham underworld. It's all thanks to Victor. And his reward for it was Oswald killing him at the very end. Right after Victor mentions that Oswald is like family to him, right after Victor tries to coach him from his lowest point when his mother is in a vegetative state, Oswald then kills him, mentioning that he can't have family anymore because it's a weakness. It was also foreshadowed earlier on, I feel, in the episode where Oswald was talking to the councilman who said that he needs to be squeaky clean, and Oswald said that he's clean as a whistle. Well, Victor knows everything Oswald has done, and the lies that Oswald told the councilman, well, Victor knows they're lies, so that could be a liability, and I feel like at that moment, that's when Oswald decided that Victor had to die. That's what I think, but ultimately, this was the final nail in the coffin where all viewers would know once and for all, Oswald is an irredeemable piece of shit. And it didn't feel like it was there for the sake of shock. It didn't feel like they did this big twist just to subvert your expectations. It really felt like it made sense for Oswald's character to do that. It wasn't just some ass-pull moment. It really felt like that's something Oswald would do. We've seen it before. He's killed his own brothers because he's obsessed with his mother and trying to make her proud and make his mother love him. Like, this is in line with his character, and his character is evil. I think it was so fitting for the finale. And another thing is that relationship between Oswald and his mom is a weird one, and it's explored and they show you it's weird. They're not hiding it, and it doesn't feel like it was just supposed to be shocking because they've shown that it's a weird relationship throughout the show. And one thing Frances said is as her mental health was deteriorating, she asked Oswald to kill her if there ever came a time where she wasn't herself anymore. And in the finale, it's revealed that Frances knew all along Oswald killed his brothers, took her babies away from him, and she's always hated him ever since. She even stabbed him with a broken beer bottle before she suffered a stroke and then went into a vegetative state. And even after that, Oswald, still obsessed with making his mother proud, cries at her bedside and eventually takes her out of the hospital in the hospital bed while in a vegetative state and puts her in the penthouse that he always promised her while she looks out at Gotham and sheds a tear. The last thing she ever wanted. He made a promise to her that he would kill her if there ever came a time where she wasn't herself. And he broke that promise, but kept the other one where he was going to put her in a penthouse. Because at the end of the day, Sophia made a point that Oswald doesn't really care about his mom, and I think she's right to a certain extent. I think Oswald used his mom as like this barometer, almost. I feel like Oswald's obsession with his mother was used as a tool to justify his own greedy ambitions and trying to convince himself that that wasn't the case. So he just reaffirms it over and over again. Everything I've ever done is for Ma. Everything I've ever done is for you, Ma. I did all this for you, Ma. But really, at the end of the day, he didn't. And it's clear he didn't. So I think that was so well done. Like, everything in the finale was exactly what it needed to be and more. Sophia, like a very fitting conclusion of Sophia, I feel. I do think a lot of people might be bothered, though, by how her arc concludes with the Penguin winning. I've already talked about that. And instead of killing her, he instead uses her as the scapegoat for everything. She is the ultimate fall guy, and she ends up right back where she started, in Arkham. And I think to a lot of people that'd be less than satisfying because she ends in the same spot she began, and for most people that's not satisfying. Like Joker 2. That was one of the biggest critiques of the ending, is how unsatisfying it is that it basically just ends the same place it began and nothing changed. But the reason it works better in here, in my opinion, is because so much changed. So much changed in everything. From Sophia's release to her institutionalization in Arkham Asylum. So to me, it doesn't feel like unsatisfying or anything. It feels like a conclusion that once again just highlights how fucked up the Penguin is. Like, killing her would have been more of a mercy than locking her back in Arkham, because one of Sophia's biggest things was she just wants to be free. At the very end, she recognizes that. She decides she wants to leave Gotham, but the last thing she needs to do for that closure is kill the penguin and make him suffer. Unsuccessful, the penguin won, and then put her right back in that cage. It just is another example of the bad, bad man that the penguin is. So I think the finale was pretty much perfect, and I really liked the fan service at the end with the bat signal, as well as bringing in the Selena Kyle letter to Sophia in Arkham, so it's hinting that Sophia will be coming back in the future, which I think is great, because that character was so good. So good. Oswald and Sophia are great villains. They knocked it out of the park with that. I just think this show was amazing. I cannot gush about it enough. I highly recommend checking it out. That's really about it. So yeah. I had planned on only watching 2 episodes of Markiplier's new show Edge of Sleep tonight before going to bed, because I just finished streaming Dark Souls at 3 a.m. and I thought it'd be nice to unwind with 2 episodes because they're pretty short. They're only about 20 minutes each. However, like Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until Markiplier puts them in a titty twister with a good show. Like a largemouth bass in a Florida lake, I was hooked. So I ended up watching all 6 episodes. I binged the entire thing. I smoked the whole pack. Every last doink that Edge of Sleep had to offer. And I just thought I'd give you my opinion on it. Now, when it comes to YouTuber-led projects, most people wipe their ass with like the normal scale of things. You start bringing it down a couple of notches because so many people are used to lackluster YouTuber shit. And very rarely are there things that break the mold. One that comes to mind always is Raka Raka's Talk to Me. That was a spectacular horror movie. Not just for YouTubers, but just in general on its own 2 legs by its own merit. And I have similar feelings for Markiplier's Edge of Sleep, where it's not just good for a YouTuber, it's good in general, but it's just good. It's not an amazing masterpiece or anything like I kind of felt for Talk to Me. And I know it's not exactly fair to keep like comparing these 2 things. This is a lower budget series here, and I do think they made the most out of the budget they were allocated for Edge of Sleep. I personally really enjoyed it, but I do think people that aren't already fans of Markiplier, or maybe they're unfamiliar with who that is, maybe they think it's like a fucking Pokemon or something, I do think when they tune into the show, they won't be as forgiving of the problems as a lot of people currently are. If you look up reviews for this show, it has thousands upon thousands of 10-star reviews from fans of Markiplier looking to show support. I get it, that's not surprising or anything, but I think it's important to talk about some of the flaws for things that can be improved going forward. I'm a fan of Markiplier, but I'm not here to play softball, I'm here to talk about the show overall, which is one that I was really entertained by, but there is definitely some things that didn't work super well, and there's room for improvement. And I honestly do think people that don't know who Markiplier is can watch this show and really like it. I don't think this is a show that's entirely just sold on Markiplier's presence in it. I do think it has legs to stand on. It's just not like the best show ever made or anything, which isn't that big of a deal. One of the things I think contributes to that, though, is that there's only 6 episodes and they're 20 minutes each. That's not a lot of wiggle room to tell the story you want to tell. So it does at times feel pretty rushed. And as I understand it, this show is based off of a podcast. And a lot of people were pointing out that the show omitted a ton of things that were present in the podcast that helped tell the story and like make it more cohesive and hit harder. And that does seem like a shame because there are moments in here where it felt a little disjointed and a bit choppy, and I think it is just because of the runtime only being 20 minutes per episode and only 6 episodes. There's a lot to get through and not a whole lot of time to do it. The concept of the show is something has happened where when people go to sleep, they don't wake up. They die in their sleep. And we follow a team of 4 who happen to just be awake when all of this unfolded. We have Markiplier, who plays Dave, who has a very weird relationship with sleep, where he has these nightmares. Every time he sleeps, he has nightmares, and they're really trippy. And the visuals are really good in his nightmares, with these fucking whales flying overhead, like this cult that's in his head, an elephant monster, which I actually think they did a great job on the creature design for the elephant monster half of the time. So in episode 2, when we're introduced to the elephant monster, it like breaks out of his mother's skull during one of his dreams, and it looked great. It kind of was reminiscent of how they did it in Smile at the end of the first movie. I got very strong vibes of that. I thought they crushed it there, but I do think towards the end of the show, they really lost that, like, creepiness of the elephant monster because they keep showing it to you in broad daylight and it just kind of looks like a person wearing a mask now. I liked what they did with, like, scarcely showing you the elephant monster in really tense scenes as opposed to just having the elephant monster, like, T-posing on top of a hill. That takes away a lot of, like, the scariness and the threats of the monster. So half the time I thought the elephant monster was amazing, and the other half I thought was a little silly. We also follow Mateo, who is Dave's friend. They work together at the night shift. And then we also follow Katie, who is Dave's ex. And then there's Linda, who is a hospital worker that was working, and all this shit started going down. It was real fishy, and now she's been investigating it, trying to get to the bottom of what's causing it. And all four of them were awake during this, so they are the last four people on Earth, it seems. And they're trying to figure out what's happening. Why are people just dying when they go to sleep, and what can they do about it? Because obviously it's a race against the clock. They are going to go to sleep at some point. A human being can only stay awake for so long. So it's a really tense concept, and it's actually one that is kind of special to me on a personal level. When I was a child, I watched The Simpsons House of Horrors. I can't remember which one it was, but they had the one where it was like a spin on Freddy Krueger, where people were getting killed in their dreams. That terrified me to, like, my very core. Like, my soul had hair standing up. Like, it was so unnerving to me, that idea. And I had never seen anything really explore it outside of The Simpsons House of Horrors until this. So when I saw, and I went into this knowing nothing about Edge of Sleep, by the way, I just knew Markiplier was kind of spearheading it. So when I saw what they were doing with it, I was super happy to see it explored, and I thought they did a great job with it. They introduced so many interesting elements with Dave's dreams and what he sees and how it could tie into, like, what's happening. And personally, I really like the presentation. I love the surreal nature of the dreams that we experience. I love the chaotic editing during some of these sequences as well. I think it sells, like, just how disorienting it is. I do think there's moments, though, where they got a little trigger happy playing that song and dance using that effect where it's cutting a lot and jumping around, and it might get a bit confusing for people, and I do think it was a little overused at the very end where there was probably like 5 or 6 minutes straight of them just cutting around to people grabbing their skulls going, ah, yeah, ah. Like, I think that was a little much, but I overall think that given the budget, they do a great job of presenting you with some good shit. And I do like the characters. Since we have a cast of 4 characters here that are all in peril, it's important that you buy into them and root for them. And I was, for the most part. As I said, it does feel a bit rushed, so some of the characters aren't as fleshed out as I think they probably were in the podcast that it's based on. But as a stupid Neanderthal who doesn't know the source material here, I still thought the characters had enough given about them for you to care. I know one of the big talking points of this series is going to be on Mark's acting, and really the acting and performances overall from the entire cast. Overall, I think the performances are fine. I don't think Markiplier is winning an Emmy anytime soon, but I do think he does a good enough job in the lead role here. I think as the series progressed, he got more and more comfortable with his character because he was definitely stronger in the last few episodes than he was in the first half. Early on, he felt a bit stiff. They needed the WD-40 and make him a little more loosey-goosey, grease the gears a bit, you know what I mean? He just felt like he was reading lines as opposed to performing them early on. But he starts to find his footing in the second half, really. And that's not to say that he was bad in the beginning by any means at all. And it's important to remember, not everyone can be the District 8 hospital helper from the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, where you're just born with the unbelievable acting prowess. sometimes it takes a little while to assimilate into the character, and he does by the end. And it's not even bad in the beginning or anything. I thought overall Mark did a good job. I really feel like everyone did. I think one of the reasons why it might feel a bit flat with some of the characters isn't even really the performance of them, but more so some of the lines. I think some of the writing is a bit, wonky from time to time, and I think that might contribute there. I don't think the writing's bad or anything. There are just some moments where it feels kind of weak. And again, I think it's probably because it was a bit rushed. At least that's the perception I have. It really is a tall order to condense a big story and a big concept into 20-minute chunks. Really, the runtime is my only major complaint, and I guess this is maybe a personal preference, but I am just so fucking tired of shows being bite-sized morsels of content. 6 20-minute episodes is a mini-series, not so much a television season. And that's becoming more and more common. I wish it was longer. I wish they gave Mark and the team more room to breathe, to flesh it out more. Because I feel like it has the meat. Like, it has the ingredients. I just think it needed more time in the oven and more time allocated to the project in general. I would like if these were 40-minute episodes. I think it would really benefit from that, so they could explore it a bit deeper, so they could connect things a bit better. I think really a lot of the hangups that stop it from being an amazing show can kind of be attributed to how much time each episode had to get everything out there. Which is a bit of a shame, but I was really impressed by it. I am a fan of Markiplier, obviously, but even if I didn't know who it was and I just put this on, I wouldn't be disappointed or let down or anything. I would be highly entertained all the same. Again, I had planned on only watching 2 episodes tonight, but I was just sold on it and wanted to finish it, so I binged all 6. It is just a show that I personally really enjoyed. It just does have some things that prevent it from being this amazing breakout series that I do think it could be down the line, and I think this is a very optimistic look at what Markiplier and the team are capable of doing. Now, there is just 2 scenes I want to mention real quick, and this isn't important at all. These aren't even complaints. I just have to talk about this briefly. The movie begins with Dave and Mateo, and they're working, and Mateo's talking about how they need to go to a party that's happening right now, and Dave's a little apprehensive about it. But they ultimately decide they're going to go to that party. They go to the party at 3 a.m. It was 3 a.m. when they were deciding they need to go to a party. Who the fuck shows up to a shindig, a hootenanny, at 3 a.m.? That will be dead. There is no party left. Which ultimately was the point narratively. They go there, the party's over, people are asleep. Oh, now they recognize that they are dead because of that. Like, I get it. But why the fuck would Dave and Mateo even think that there was a party happening still at 3 a.m.? Because, like, they're hyping each other up. He's like, we're going to get you laid, Dave. We are going to get you some pussy, Dave. He's like, oh, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to turn up too hard. He's like, no, we're going to go fucking hog wild in there. And it's like, brother, it's 3 a.m. No, you're not. That's not happening. Definitely not important at all. But I just had to mention it because it had me giggling a little bit about, like, this idea of getting excited to go to a party at 3 a.m. And then the other scene I want to mention is another one early on where they have recognized what's happening. Everyone is dying when they go to sleep, and what they do is they start going to a bunch of random people's houses just to confirm the theory that, oh, they're dead. Like, everyone's shed the mortal coil here. And then when they're about to leave this neighborhood, Dave's trying to call Katie because he's trying to tell her, don't go to sleep. He's trying to warn her. He gets a hold of her. She says that she's going to go to bed, and she's cutting him off. She hangs up, and unfortunately, the car they were traveling in has broken down now, and they're 3 or 4 miles away from Katie's, and Dave decides he's going to run there because he needs to get there ASAP. It's a 3 or 4 mile run. Why wouldn't he just go into one of the houses, which they have already gone into to confirm people are dead there, and grab the keys to any of the hundreds of cars that were on the street next to them? He would have got there in a fraction of the time. Obviously, not a big deal. Doesn't change anything, but it was something I was watching where I was like, why not just grab one of those cars that are just openly accessible here. These two scenes are not a big deal, but I just wanted to mention them briefly, just because I just thought it was something fun to talk about for a moment or two. As I said, I really enjoyed the show. I recognize it's got flaws, and I really do think that this is a great step forward for Mark, and I think there is so much potential there. I do think his acting got better towards the end, so I think if he can just consistently stay there, he's got a bright future as an actor. And I'm very excited for whatever other projects he cooks up. I know he's got Iron Lung around the corner too, so I'm pretty pumped. I think the show is definitely worth watching. Even if you're not a fan of Markiplier, I do think it's just a really entertaining show. So I recommend it, and yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. Usually when I make a dedicated video on a piece of media, it's on something that's abhorrent, just something that I really enjoy making fun of because it's bad. It's pretty rare that I'll do one where I'm just kind of glazing something, but that's exactly what today is. There's a show that's airing right now called Shogun, and it doesn't seem to be getting the buzz that I feel it deserves given how high quality the production is. It seems to be going under a lot of people's radars, so I just want to dick ride this harder than Ian Miles Chong meet swallows Elon Musk on Twitter, because I think the show deserves the praise. The only reason I've heard about it is because I've had a few friends that are actively watching it and constantly preaching the gospel about how good it is, and I've seen 2 articles written about it, and both compared it to Game of Thrones before it got shitty. They compared it to early Game of Thrones, and that's also pretty high praise, so I decided to take the plunge and watch it, and I'm blown away. I am absolutely stunned by how great this show is. Now, I'll go ahead and be honest here. I'll be more open than goatsy for a moment. I do have a big bias for this era that Shogun takes place in. Whether it be video game, movie, TV show, any of it, I just find this period of history fascinating. So anything that takes place in it, I just have a soft spot for. But even if you hate samurai and you hate this setting, I still think you're going to love the presentation here. The visuals are stunning. Like, the set design is breathtaking, unbelievable. It really does feel like you've been transported back in time. All of it is impressive in the scale. And not only are the sets incredible, the costumes are as well. It feels like they really went all out to capture this period as true as they possibly could make it. Now, of course, I didn't live through the era, so I don't know exactly what it looked like back then, but this is how I imagine it. If I did live back then, I'm sure I would have died very quickly into my life. I would have had my head sliced clean off my shoulders for some disrespectful shenanigans I would have found myself in. But this really does just feel so authentic. From the very first episode, I was hooked. I was sold. Not only is everything beautiful, but it's really well written. Now, I do want to just, before moving on to the writing, harp on just how good the show looks. Let's take Rings of Power, for instance, the billion-dollar Amazon super stinker that disrespects everything to do with Tolkien's work. This feels like what $1 billion would get you. Not that. To me, this would be the gold standard of like a big, massive budget television show. Nothing feels like it's cheaply made. It doesn't feel like they cut any corners. It really feels like they gave their VFX department and their entire team ample time to create something spectacular, something truly special. It feels like actual passion and soul put into this show. They had a story to tell, and they wanted to tell it the best that it could possibly be and have it look the best that our current human technology will allow us to make it. It is so fucking good. So now, shifting gears into the narrative and the overall writing, the characters are immediately interesting, and they set up this very intricate set of character relationships early on. This is also somewhat of a minor complaint here, but they do introduce so many characters pretty quickly that it's easy to lose track of them early on, because there's just so many moving pieces to this world they're bringing you into. And I don't think there's any way they could have done that better or anything, but it is something worth mentioning that it might be a little hard to keep track of everyone early on because there is a lot going on right away. But I actually really like that because it shows that there is a deep world that they are bringing you into, that there's a lot of pieces on this chessboard that are coming into the fold now. And just like when I checkmated XQC in 6 moves, this show will checkmate your attention span in 6 minutes. I was, like I said, immediately drawn into this and pretty hooked on it because it does such a great job of getting you to care. Like right away. At least I think it will. I don't know who would necessarily be turned off by the narrative of this show because it lends itself well for
pretty much anyone of any taste. If you're someone who just likes some good action, shit, Shogun's got it in droves, and it's sword fighting. Let's be honest, who doesn't like sword fighting? You know, I know it's become a little bit of a cruel meme in modern times, you know, studying the blade teleports behind you, sorry kid, fedora tip type shit. But this is the cool sword fighting stuff, you know, bloody heads coming off of shoulders type shit, gore out the wazoo. It's cool. Like, I think it's really cool. And if you're someone who doesn't really care about action, if you're someone who wants more of like a deep, well-crafted lore, this absolutely has that too. It's a very interesting dynamic here with all of these different people struggling during this power vacuum that they're experiencing now since the passing of the last shogun. So it's very well done in pretty much everything that it aims to do. I really think this show is a banger. I think the show slaps hard. So I just wanted to make this real quick and just kiss it on the lips here because I do think this show is absolutely worth watching. And hopefully we can get more shows like this because it really does evoke the same feelings of watching something like an early Game of Thrones where it's like, damn, this is extremely well done. Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since we've had a show to that level, and Shogun is finally here to say, you know, like, hey, we can still do this. Just reminding us that we still have the capability to make shit that's this fire. So yeah, I think Shogun is amazing. Highly recommend it. That's really about it. See ya. All of you know I am a massive fan of cryptids and conspiracies. Just this enthusiast for the absurd. But many of you probably don't know that I actually have an entire show dedicated to exploring and educating on cryptids, conspiracies, cults, and cold cases. It's a show that I do with Windigoon and Jackson of the official podcast. It's called The Red Thread. Episode 1 dropped a couple weeks ago, and this shit popped off on Spotify. It was number 3 for true crime. Actually, I think it went all the way to number 1 briefly, but I haven't checked. Which gives me a hearty belly laugh that Goatman was beating out true crime podcasts. I mean, Goatman strikes again. You can never underestimate his power. Let that be a lesson to all of you in the community. And overall podcasts, it broke like the top 20, and it's just all about Goatman. It's just the 3 of us goobers going over the entire Goatman mythos and like the legend of the Goatman, as well as a cult that formed around him. And this show is like some of the most fun I have. Episode 2 actually comes out today. It'll be up by the time I post this video, so I'll link you to it. And it's exploring one of the most perplexing cold cases I've ever learned about. The death of Charles Morgan. I'll give you just the basics to get you hooked here, like a drug dealer giving you a sample so that way you come back for more. Charles Morgan was an individual who in the 1970s was found dead with a gunshot wound to the back of the head. And the authorities very quickly ruled that he must have done this to himself, which is a very interesting conclusion to draw given all of the evidence at the scene, such as a $2 bill that was in his underwear that had a lot of writing on it, such as some names, as well as a couple of other things. It gets pretty deep. It's not some cut and dry case here. It led to a lot of clues, which led to a lot of speculation, and the most important component of this puzzle is Charles Morgan's job. He actually held a very powerful position. And I don't want to spoil a whole lot more about this, but it gets extremely deep and complex. And there's just a lot of moving pieces to this story that make it a really interesting cold case that we thoroughly examined. So, episode 2 is up right now. I think it's fucking fire. I'm gonna just go ahead and show you a montage of highlights from the Goatman episode as well as the newest one, the Charles Morgan episode, to get you hooked on the show.
Picture this. You're walking down a dark road at midnight, surrounded by the silhouettes of leafy trees rustling in the waning wind. Then from behind, seemingly impossibly, you hear the unmistakable bleating of a goat. At any other time, any other location, this would be endearing. Right now, it's terrifying. You push forward across the bridge, knowing that turning around isn't an option anymore.
Why is it not an option? It's just it's the sound of a goat. Like, it's not the most horrifying screech. Like, that wouldn't be super uncommon.
It would be scary. You'd be scared. You'd be scared. You'd be so scared. If you heard a goat
sound, I'd be like, no, it sounds about right.
Even turning around and seeing a goat would be terrifying at that point. Eventually, as luck would have it, you make it to the other side. The noise has disappeared, replaced by the sound of silence. Little did you know, you have just successfully crossed the infamous Pope Lick Trestle, nestled in Louisville, Kentucky. A bridge infamous for the Pope Lick monster, one of the many forms of the Goatman legend. You're lucky to have escaped with your life, for not everyone has been so fortunate. Welcome to The Red Thread, a brand new show where we talk about deeply interesting things like cryptids and conspiracies, and we deconstruct them and discuss them for you in detail to figure out why. Why does this thing exist, and why has its impact been so large to so many?
Hey, I'm resident Goatman enthusiast Charles. I like to keep my finger on the pulse of anything Pope Lick related, so it felt like the right fit.
Finger on the pulse of Pope licking. Look at the resident expert.
It's kind of like a folk legend that has spread and created additional variations based on, you know, where people have migrated to, I guess, or where they've moved to. And this is pre-internet, by the way. This is like during the 70s, 80s. So it's existed for a long time, this kind of legend.
It's important that you also recognize that it could just be one goat man and he happens to be nomadic.
True.
So
yeah, he could be migrating, yeah. I guess we've never seen two goat men, like, at the same time.
We've never seen one goat man at one time, actually.
True, I guess that...
Hey, watch your mouth.
Yeah, I didn't mean to discount all the evidence.
Don't say that about her. She's beautiful to me. My first interaction to Goatman, similar to Jackson, is when I was in high school. I came across a story. I think it was the Mr. Creepypasta narration of it, actually, if I remember right. And I remember listening to it and being just scared out of my mind for like days on end. And then I made all of my friends listen to it, and then they quit talking to me after that. Not because they thought it was scary, they just thought I was weird. Which, I mean, fair play on that.
So to paint a picture, he's usually portrayed as obviously half man, half goat. It's usually the bottom half is human and the head part is goat. What's the Greek, like the Greek god Pan? What are they called? Satyrs, right? They're kind of
like Tumnus.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go the Narnia route. I'm trying to like tie this into actual like Greek, historical ties and stuff, and you go straight for Narnia.
Well, can you imagine? Like, let's flip it. What if it was like a man body on a goat legs? It wouldn't be nearly as scary.
Well, wait, yeah, that's Tumnus. So it is the opposite of Tumnus, really.
Oh wait, you're right. Tumnus is man top, goat bottom, isn't it?
So yeah, Tumnus is anti-goat man, if anything.
Yeah, he's reverse goat man.
he's the good goat man.
Folklore expert named Thomas Markham. He believes that the goat man is responsible for at least 5 deaths recently.
Oh,
recently.
Yeah.
Recently.
He says since 2019. There's been a lot of murders and grisly sightings reported near where Goatman is reported to hang out, and he attributes all of that to Goatman kidnapping and killing them.
Oh wow! Wait, what if this researcher's just killing people and he's blaming it on the good name of Goatman?
Goatman killed this woman and buried her body over here. I saw the whole thing.
I've been tracking Goatman for days. Found all of these bodies. Arrest him immediately.
Coincidence. Goatman's gonna have to sue for slander. That's how we finally catch sight of him.
He's like, guys, look, I throw rocks. I wouldn't do something this disgusting. God, good lord.
I don't like vehicles. Okay, this is preposterous that I would ever.
I'm imagining Goatman in a little suit at court, like fucking having to stand trial against this guy. Yeah.
He's got on an old like boiler hat from the 30s, but it's got holes cut for his horns to come out the top of.
Yeah.
It sounds like something out of The Wolf Among Us.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, if you guys remember the Slender Man stabbings where 2 girls believed they were doing something on behalf of Slender Man, ended up stabbing a classmate like 17 times or something. She miraculously survived, but the killing is something that's attributed to the legend of Slender Man now. And I feel like Goatman's not far off, considering there is a cult formed around him, and in fact one of the cult leaders, I suppose, his name is Ollie Asser. He dresses up in Goatman garb and stands at the Alton Bridge, and according to him, he said, The last time I was here at night, I had one guy pull a knife on me. So either the cult will end up killing someone or they'll get killed under the belief of Goat Man.
Goat Man got robbed. He got robbed like that.
Yeah, he just got his wallet stolen.
What kind of lunatic tries to rob Goat Man by his bridge?
Bro.
I want to know more about that guy.
That's the toughest crackhead you'll ever meet.
Yeah. That guy was trained. He knew Goat Man's weakness, which is a knife. That'd be fucking wild. The red thread is directly tied to the Goat Man cult.
In their first episode, bro, we would kill
what a way to kick it
if
off.
that
That
happened,
could genuinely
man.
be our first sponsorship.
We get the cult leader of the Goat Man cult to pay us to shout it out. There's not a lot of blood sacrifices and stuff like that in Satanism. Like, frankly, modern Satanism for the most part is like posers nowadays. You know? It's not as legit. It's not as cool as it used to be. Yeah. But it used to be
like begging for proper Satanism.
I just want some good old fashioned Satanism. Okay, it's just I need a challenge. I haven't had a challenge in a while.
So if Jesus, we're getting really deep in the weeds here, but so if Jesus was the final lamb, who was the final goat then?
It would be Satan. It would be,
Okay.
the Antichrist, so to speak. Whereas, so that's what the Antichrist is. I mean, they got that one's just lazy, right? Like the inversion of Christ, Antichrist.
I mean, it's all pretty lazy. It's all
so we've got Jesus, who is the descendant of God, come to earth. The descendant of Satan come to earth would be the Antichrist. So the one to finally embody the goat imagery, be the final goat, so to speak, would be the Antichrist by that symbolism.
Gotcha. See,
Can you imagine if that is actually Goat Man, though? Like, when the time comes, the Antichrist appears, it's Goat Man from Alton Bridge marching out.
he's the final goat?
What's really funny, too, is in, like, the book of Revelations, when the Antichrist is described, he's supposed to be a leader of the free world. He's like a politician who everyone gets behind. So could you imagine, like, the Goat Man in a suit at, like, the UN speaking uniting the world. And now current Satanism is, like, the Satanic Bible's just like, if God real, why bad thing happen? And that's like their whole...
Well, I mean, it is a good point.
Yeah. Disprove it.
You're right. We never thought of that. Oh, no.
But then they can invert that
the
as
church
well,
is falling
and then
apart.
they can invert that as well. Like Christians could invert that and also say, if good things happen, why Satan? Or the other way around. Like it's the same shit. Get back
Now
at the
you're making some big
Satanists.
moves.
If good thing happen, why Satan?
Well, wait, how would it be? Yeah, well, that was an inversion of the inversion, actually. It should be if Satan, why good things happen, right?
If Satan real, why good thing happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's the one.
That's it. Yeah.
I did too many inversions.
That's not.
I wouldn't give him S tier either. I'd probably give him A tier. I think S tier would be reserved for the ones that had like a legitimately huge impact on culture. Things like Slender Man or I think Bloody Mary would be a really fun one to look at. If you guys ever did that in school, where you put a penny on the side of a sink, spin around 3 times, saying Bloody Mary.
Yeah, Bloody Mary would be a good one. I did do that too. I was scared out of my mind while I was doing it.
I was too scared to do it originally, but eventually
she might still pop up one day. Maybe she's working her way through everyone one at a time.
She's got a queue system.
She's got like a support call center working for her to try to like optimize it.
Or you take a number, stand in line.
I never did it. I couldn't bring myself to. When people were trying to force me into it, I went into the bathroom and I just stood there for what I felt would be long enough to make them believe I did it.
Charlie's safe.
Bloody Mary still gets you because she thinks you're a pussy.
She's like, you bitch. There was a guy in Florida who killed himself, but he wanted to make it look like an assassination, so what he did is he shot himself in the chest twice and then tied the gun to a balloon that flew away, so that way it looked like someone had assassinated him and ran.
So just to confuse the investigators or anyone interested in the case?
Yeah,
I mean, that is a power move. Like, if you are going to go out, that's probably the way to do it. So I am excited to get into that. All right, so the first
There's so much fucking pages here on the document. I'm trying to move around it.
Also, you just did like a whole scat man right there. The guy with the porky pig.
A few days later, 3 days later, he returned to his house, missing his shoe, and plastic handcuffs were placed on his ankles and hands. I don't know why they were plastic, if that has any part.
If I recall correctly, I don't know if they were like, zip cuffs, the kind that like, the police use or whatever. It was similar. They weren't called zip cuffs back then, but it's a similar design to them. If I recall right, that's what it's referring to there.
Right, so not like police handcuffs, but just...
Yeah, this wasn't like a kid's like playset.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. When I was reading the research, I was like, why? What kind of like, I don't know, like mobster ties up their prey with like plastic handcuffs and stuff.
He got kidnapped by playground bullies.
He's like, lock him up, boys, and he gets out like a bright orange like Fisher Price lock.
One of those like plastic hammers, he beats him over the head with it.
He has a calf gun. He's like, I didn't want to do this. Could you imagine if that letter had details like that? If it was like, mentioning these 7 Spanish names and stuff? Yeah.
I know, so frustrating.
Or if it was just written in plain, non-confusing English about what's going on.
It's just written on the letter. Hey, forget about all that shit on the $2 bill. Here's what actually happened.
Hey, Ruth, I know you weren't smart enough to crack my $2 bill, so here's the step-by-step on what's gone down.
Yeah, it's just, I killed myself.
I like Charlie setting it over here. Like, what's with the puzzles? Who did it? What are you talking about?
I feel like it's so unnecessary to try and get us on a wild goose chase. If he knows well, I guess he didn't know he was about to die, unless it was a planned suicide, but you could have just been like, hey, here's the bad guys. They're not nice.
And then perhaps they weren't happy with him after that, and perhaps they believed that he had a document with all their names on it or something, or a ledger with, financial information and stuff. And that's why they eventually, performed the hit. And then raided his house and took the documents and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's a compelling theory, honestly.
I think that's like the main theory that most people will draw when connecting all the dots. Like, I think that's the one that makes the most logical sense when you follow everything about the investigation.
Which means it's wrong in your eyes immediately.
Yeah, which means it's too easy. Which is why we need to reanalyze.
Back to the drawing board.
The body of a Doug Johnston, a 35-year-old who worked for a computer graphics company, was found in his car at his company's parking lot at roughly midnight in Phoenix, Arizona. I don't know how far away Phoenix is from Tucson.
I mean, they're in the same state. Well, aren't they like 3 hours apart, Charlie? Something like that?
I don't know enough about Arizona, but the way you keep pronouncing Tucson is like Carl Weezer with croissant. It's really adorable.
I get so caught in my head about pronunciations that I just overthink it, I think. Or my mouth's not capable of it.
It's America, brother. It's like as simple as it gets, just Tucson.
Well, it's not, because Maryland, it should be said Maryland instead of Maryland or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. Now you're just sounding stupid.
All right, that's too far. Not happening.
Yeah, you went way too far.
All right. Well, at least I got Phoenix, unless you pronounce it like Phoenix or something.
No, Phoenix.
Authorities first believed that this death was a suicide because that's apparently their immediate go-to whenever someone's shot in the back of the head. So they immediately thought his death was a suicide, but there was no powder residue on his dominant hand, and more importantly, there was no gun found at the scene. So yeah, no shit, it wasn't a suicide. Like what the fuck? Like,
no, you don't understand.
It's a vanishing gun.
He shot himself in the back of the head, and the gun despawned. I'm very curious, in like the entire recorded history of suicides, how many of them are to the back of the head, and then also like the gun being displaced so far away. I have to imagine that it's like unfathomably rare as like a suicide method.
What do you mean? It's happened 2 times in this one episode.
And now everyone that investigated it has been hunted, is my theory, which is very concerning considering that was 22 years later that 2 people ended up dead from the case.
Yeah, so they were still, operating 22 years after the initial cold case itself.
Yeah, and I remember in BuzzFeed Unsolved, the hosts were talking about how it could be bad for them, so they had to make the disclaimer that they're not investigating anymore, so don't worry about killing them. I think it's important we also mention that. Hey, we're not looking into it ourselves.
I think it's important that we make it clear. Jackson and myself not looking into it, but Charlie has been digging into this case for weeks and weeks.
Yeah, you heard it.
He's got names.
And I concluded that it was nothing fishy. It was all suicide. Charles Morgan was a maniac. There's nothing deeper.
I think we just need to make it clear that anyone we don't like has been digging into this day in, day out. I personally don't care. I'm not looking into it. But
yeah, I don't care. I got no skin in the game. I'm in Australia. You guys do whatever you want over there.
Well, maybe they moved operations over there.
Oh, God, no. They're going to take a plane. They'll be over there shortly.
I think they could get away with disappearing me pretty easily over here, honestly. That's a scary thought. I'm not investigating you guys. It's fine.
After that comment you made about this gang still looking out to get people, maybe I shouldn't have pieced all of it together like that on the record just then. But you know what?
Yours is far more logical than mine. You're the bigger threat.
No. I don't think you gave me the idea. And I should also mention, if I ever kill myself, no, I didn't. And also, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just regurgitating the stuff they said. I'm not looking into this case anymore beyond this, and I really don't care. I just want to play.
Fuck it. I'll take credit for this.
Okay, Go ahead, Jackson.
I came up with all of what he just said, and also if I die, if I commit suicide or whatever, that just proves me right. You sons of bitches out there.
Everything I just read is off of a 14-page document that Jackson wrote. Okay,
that is true. This is all from Jackson.
This is all Jackson.
Check the logs.
I didn't
I'm
do
proud
it.
of it. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, you go. What, Jackson? If you die from a conspiracy we covered in episode 2, do you know how crazy that will go?
It's going to be great for the
online?
publicity,
It's going to be fantastic. Charlie and I will be drying our tears with Benjamins. It will be fantastic.
Yeah, true.
Anything for the podcast, boys.
It was all Jackson. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add, though, just to further incriminate myself, is that it is also alleged that Charles was keeping both of these, there were certain mob families at the time, family and the family.
Oh, he said the name. He said the name.
Dude, you're name dropping? Are you insane?
Bro, dude, my camera battery died as you said the names. I'm not kidding. It straight up just died. Oh my gosh. You go, I think the family's implicated. Badoom.
They're not around anymore, right?
I would imagine they are, man. All the way until the 90s, yeah, they're probably still around.
I'll look it up. It's fine. They won't come over here.
Bro, I thought I was implicating myself. That was crazy.
I don't even think BuzzFeed Unsolved dropped their names, brother.
All right, I'm recording again. He just implicated names of people. We should wrap this one up. I didn't hear those names because my mic glitched out for a second.
Oh, my bad.
I don't know who he's
family and family, just in case you missed it. So it's alleged that Charles was helping both of those people. Just to put it back out there, he was helping them, and he kept duplicate records of all of the transactions, likely as a bargaining chip in case his business partners, the family, threatened him. Could this potentially have been stolen from the house during the fake FBI raid? That's my question. Was there a document with duplication, like a duplicate document, tying all of the transactions together that was then stolen? Perhaps not. Perhaps those two families that I mentioned are completely innocent. And
well, I have no idea what Jackson's talking about. He's going crazy.
So I think we've got everything, though. I think we've covered everything. I think we've got all of our theories out there. Yeah, like I said, I think that's the most logical. Charlie, did you have anything else to add?
Just that at the end of the day, I think it's a tragic case of suicide, and it's just a really unfortunate set of circumstances surrounding it.
Yeah,
it's really impossible to know.
And I think what's even more tragic is Jackson implicating two innocent families who had absolutely nothing to do with this.
Yeah. I mean, really, I'm probably the safest person out of any of us because I directly name them. So if anything happens to me, that's on them. Like, that's clearly them.
Let's say this: whatever the safest theory is, I subscribe to that one. That's the one I. That's the one I believe in.
You pussies! Come on, insult them. Be brave.
No,
they're not even around anymore. I doubt they're even around.
Oh yeah, you think you're so brave? Post your docs. Go ahead, do it. Do it, and then talk about it.
You can meet me in my local park at sundown.
I'll be by myself facing a wall with no witnesses.
All right, so nothing else to add, Charlie? You're going into witness protection mode currently.
Yeah, I think the official story is the correct one.
You're such a
Whatever
pussy.
the cops said.
You actually
all right,
afraid of this.
Next week we're going to cover an Australian killing. And we'll see how soon you are to talk about the Wallaby Gang and the dingo attacks and whatnot.
We do have some.
Yeah, we should absolutely do an Australian one next.
Yeah, that'll
and
be
then
silent.
we'll talk about how you came up with all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a good job.
I actually probably will need to go into witness protection. If I don't even think that exists over here, I'm fucked.
I think normally whenever Americans go into witness protection, they go to Australia. So I guess they just like drive you around the block and drop you off.
Oh yeah, they just take Jackson to a different part of Australia.
He moves across the
street.
street.
Don't do that. I'll confuse myself. I won't know how to get home.
He literally lives the next apartment down. He's like, I'm a man off the grid. I've gone rogue.
I have to live off the land.
He's out at like a grocery store, like eating 9 on apples out of the line.
It's like a normal fucking like townhouse in suburbia, and I'm out in the front yard like raking, like making a potato garden bed or something with a
He's
rake.
built a little hut out front. They'll never find me here.
Foraging for berries. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode of The Red Thread. I appreciate you all being here, and I hope this show continues to delight and entertain you all, and I don't die mysteriously. I really do. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you next week. Oh, next time.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The time is finally upon us. Let's go, am I right? I know. Yep, it's a big day. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, but that's gonna be playing second fiddle. No one's gonna care about Thanksgiving tomorrow after I tell you what I need to talk about today. What I'm about to announce will end up being a holiday that will be celebrated by human beings for eons to come. And you can tell your great-great-great-grandchildren from the afterlife, if they happen to be using a Ouija board, that you were here to witness the genesis of it. All of the animals are here in the headquarters, excited. All of the ghosts that haunt my walls have a big smile on their face and celebrating. I am happy to announce that the Dungeons & Dragons show that I've been teasing for like the last 4 months is finally ready.
Charles, can you just tell us where we're going? We've been walking for days and I only have 1 kidney. Home Improvement reruns are on and Tim the Toolman Taylor's making that goofy noise I like.
Oh, ye of little faith, you bloviating buffoon. All those other side projects, the esports organization, pro wrestling, my rise through the ranks of Hollywood as a peerless thespian, all just an elaborate distraction from what is meant to be my magnum opus, my legacy-defining triumph. I present to you an exhilarating role-playing journey of mirth and merriment, a world in which anything and everything can and probably will happen. Welcome to Critical Role.
Yeah, so here I'm on the set of The Happiest Place on Earth. This is our multi-million-dollar studio that we've designed for our upcoming D&D campaign, Critical Role. It's a unique on-brand name for our take on a chaotic D&D experience. We have 2 high-quality DMs that are going to be helping us go on a grand adventure that's never been seen before, never even attempted before, and I can't wait for the incredible adventures.
Shut up, you bastard! We're engaged in the fucking... goddammit. You bastard, we're being sued by Critical Role. Check your phone. What did you do?
What are you yapping about?
Hey, Charlie, Matt here. Hey, buddy. We talked about this. I really can't have you using that name at all. Please. please.
Yeah, dude, it's like really confusing. Like, you're a creative person. Just come up with something else.
Yes.
Please.
It's, you know, maybe we can show letterhead, I guess, if we did go through it.
No, actually, Matt, our lawyers called and they don't actually know who they work for anymore, so they have to change it.
You have to change it.
Please. Alter that for us.
I don't know, guys. I kind of like it. Critical
Role. No, it's don't buy.
Well, alright then. Fuck it. Massive thanks to Wizard Lore, they did that animation there, and I think they absolutely crushed it. There's a link to their work in the description. They do incredible stuff. So, we wanted to go all in on this. So, we're trying to pull out all the stops, sparing no expense here, to deliver an extremely high-quality experience that will be memorable, at the very least. An unforgettable journey of absolute fucking lunacy. Skill check is unlike anything you've ever seen before. Unlike anything your mind has ever even attempted to process before. I know these are buzzwords you've probably heard a million times by now with every summer blockbuster movie ever made, so it might be hard to take me at my word there, hard to trust what I say. But, believe me, this time it's true, it's accurate. It's like the boy who cried wolf. You know, cry wolf a million times, wolf's never there, but eventually, the wolf shows up. And we're the wolf, baby! God damn it, skill check is here! This is something that we've been cooking up in the laboratory for pretty much the entire year. All of 2023, we've had this as something we've wanted to do, so we've kind of gone all in on it. Obviously, it's not a multi-million-dollar set. I'm just kind of pulling your leg with the exaggeration there. But that set legitimately did take an extremely long time to do, and it will continue to evolve as the campaign evolves. Everything that we're putting together is truly out of love for Dungeons & Dragons. All of us have gotten so into not only the game itself, but all of the content creators around it. We've all just been studying Dungeons & Dragons extensively, as if we've gone to, like, the Shaolin Temple in order to learn from the best there is. We've all just really just gone full hog wild into this space and really wanted to create something super memorable, unique, and fun here. So that's where Skill Check was born. Our whole group is just a bunch of fucking dumb goobers, so it's going to be unbelievably ridiculous. Episode 1 was already just fucking crazy. And huge thanks to the actual Critical Role team. They have been unbelievably sweet, helpful, and just the nicest people we've ever worked with. They've been kind of guiding us here and mentoring us on how to do it properly and just showing us the ropes of everything that the community has to offer, honestly. So big thanks to them. Prior to this, I had only ever been a part of one D&D campaign before. It was on Twitch a couple years ago. Many of you might remember that. I absolutely adored doing that, and now it feels so good to be back. So we filmed our first episode yesterday, and that episode, I am happy to say, will be live on YouTube and Twitch 1 week from today. So that means November 29th at 8 p.m. EST. It's going to be dropping hot. A big spicy meatball here. And the way it's going to work is it's going to be a pre-recorded episode, but it's going to be pushed live as a stream. So YouTube has something called premieres, where it's a video, but it goes up kind of live, where there's still a chat where you can interact with people while watching the content. And it's the same thing for Twitch. It will be live, but a pre-recorded segment. It's what Critical Role does as well. It's fun to have the community be able to talk to each other during the episode as it plays out, and eventually we would like to actually do some of them live. Like, not pre-recorded push live, but like legitimately live. And this is helping to get our tootsies wet in the pool here. So it will go live November 29th, 8 p.m. EST, here and on Twitch, the Moist Critical Twitch channel. And I'm super excited for you guys to see it. I think the first episode went pretty hard. I was going to go over like the very bare bones of the setting and the story, but I'm just going to go ahead and let you all see that for yourself firsthand next week. It's going to be myself, Matt, Danny, Chase, Aaron, Chelsea, and Caleb playing. We have two Dungeon Masters, Drew and Ryan, who have spent the better part of this year crafting an incredibly large and very deep, robust universe for us to explore and adventure through. And we've also spent the whole year pretty much as a group playing together, honing our abilities, and improving our chemistry overall. We've been like Walter White out here with the chemistry we've been working on here. It's been super fun. We've been playing all the time, and I think it's led to us having a very special kind of campaign here. It's one that I think is pretty different than what most people are used to seeing. In a good way, in a wacky way, I'll say. It's quite quirky. But yeah, legitimately super excited to get this out to you next week. Hopefully you all enjoy it. And this is only the beginning for Skill Check. We have a lot more planned down the line. We have prop masters as well. We're really going pretty hard with it. The first episode doesn't have all of our props ready for it, but as we continue to grow and as we continue to evolve in the game, so too will our actual wardrobe and our set, our location, everything. Everything will upgrade with us as the world continues to develop throughout the journey and the grand adventure of Skill Check. So again, we're all extremely excited. So hopefully you all enjoy it. That's about it. So yeah. I promise you're about to witness the best news segment in American broadcasting history, so please call your mother and your father and thank them both for allowing you to be born into this world at this time period so you could witness this greatness.
You know, usually when you're talking about the world of inflation, you guys, you probably notice, is that a good thing or not a good thing? Inflation.
Here's our protagonist, Dave Scott from Good Morning San Diego, and he's reporting live on the field behind enemy lines in the belly of the beast talking about inflatable shit, and he's come to tell jokes and make everyone uncomfortable. And he's all out of jokes.
I'm sorry, the question again, Dave?
Is inflation in our world a good thing or not a good thing?
It depends upon what the topic is. What are we talking about? Generally, inflation. If you have an inflatable boat, that's a good thing.
Heard the right?
This is quite possibly the first joke Dave Scott has ever even attempted to say. Throughout the entire course of Dave's life, kids would say, "Dave, tell a joke," and he couldn't do it. He'd flex all his muscles real hard, but he just couldn't tell a joke. But then, after 50 years of trying, doing push-ups in his bedroom, practicing comedy, is your refrigerator running? Yeah? Well, you better go fuck it. Oh, damn it, Dave, that's not right. But now, after all of these years of trying, he's finally attempting his first joke live on Good Morning San Diego, and my God, is it a stinker.
But generally, when you hear the word inflation,
not economically,
something good come to mind?
For me, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you that you're right about, if you say good, you're right, because this is the world of inflatables.
Bingo, bango, Dave's out here busting guts and busting nuts. Fucking slaying the crowd. Do you get it? Because inflation, like economically, and then inflation, like inflatable shit, like bounce out. It's a thinking man's joke. Dave is on a whole nother level of comedy.
Give yourselves a nice round of applause, everybody. These are just the volunteers coming out here today. And Addie, what kind of fun do you think you're gonna have today?
Lots of fun.
Lots of fun. That's a good kind.
I swear to God, Dave is like an alien dressed in human skin. Like he's been possessed by something not of this world. And it's like a sitcom where it's like, oh fuck, I possessed him, but now I have to do this new show. I don't, what humans, they like fun, right? Humans, fun, there must be different kinds. What kind of fun do you like, human? Just normal human question. What kind of fun do you think you'll have at this human inflatable place?
Helping everybody. Solene, what do you think?
I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
What kind of fun do you think you can find here today? All kinds? All kinds of fun?
She didn't fucking say that, Dave. Your ass about to get sued for slander up in here. It's 2018. We're suing for all types of shit now, baby. I'll be honest, though. I don't know why they're struggling so hard with Dave's easy softball of a question. What kind of fun do you expect to find here? I mean, it's really simple. It's like Pokemon. There's all types of different funs out there. What kind of fun are you going to find in the tall grass at the inflatable world?
Bouncing fun? Yeah, I think so, because this is a place where kids and families can come and kind of bounce around, but you need something, and I'm going to have everyone do it like a magic chant. All right, you guys ready? Because when we're talking inflatables, you need something that's been inflated. Are you guys ready?
Oh my god, yes, Dave, we're fucking ready. A magic chant, of course. It's the only thing that makes sense, you goddamn lunatic. Because when you're at an inflatable park, you need something inflated. Obviously, it's going to be a magic chant that nobody in God's green earth is going to know the words to. It's just coming right out of Dave's hairy ass. Lead us, Dave.
All right, here we go. Repeat after me. Abracadabra, 1, 2, 3.
Abracadabra, 1, 2, 3.
Now it's time to see what we see.
Now it's time to see what we see.
Against all the odds, Dave manages to squeak out some rhymes from between his ass cheeks and actually get a rhyme out there. He dug himself a hole, backed himself into a corner, the chips were stacked against him, and he came out on top and delivered a fucking chant. It didn't make any sense, but god damn it, it rhymed. And that is a victory, and I'm beyond fucking impressed with Dave here, because when I first saw this and I saw him setting up a chant with nowhere to go with it, I didn't even think he knew what rhyming was, so I expected a whole lot worse, just like some fucking gibberish. Alright, now all of you repeat after me. Hogga-da-doodly, heard-it-in-learned-it-in. But hey, hats off to him. He truly did get rhymes that worked, and they were real words.
Hello, everybody. Oh, my goodness.
How's everybody doing? My name is Mr. Wacky. Welcome to the Inflatable Run.
Give Mr. Wacky a nice round of applause, everybody. Mr. Wacky, this is an honor, first of all.
Our hero, Mr. Wacky, comes out of nowhere to save the day. Thank you, Jesus, for blessing us with Mr. Wacky, who I guess lives in Inflatable World. He just happened to be sleeping on that particular obstacle right there and heard Dave fumbling around and ruining the atmosphere, so he sprung to life to say hi.
Well, thank you. We are local San Diegans, so we're proud to be here, everybody, on this wonderful, beautiful Saturday morning. Welcome, San Diego!
Yeah, good morning, you guys. This is so much fun here.
Yeah, but what kind of fun, Dave?
And a course that families can run as many times as they want with inflatables on them.
Yeah, this is great, you guys. Now, does that mean that everybody here becomes an inflatable today?
Dave is out here showing no mercy. He's slitting throats and coming for scalps with these impossible to answer questions that it's like a bad robot programming, like the AI learning algorithm is malfunctioning so hard and can't construct a question that will have an actually coherent answer to it. It's amazing that he can keep asking the worst fucking questions imaginable. What does that even mean, Dave? Does that mean everyone's gonna become an inflatable today? What, do you think they're just gonna transmogrify into a fucking wacky waving inflatable tube flailing arm man?
Do they want to be inflatables today?
You guys want to be inflatable? Yeah, absolutely.
Wacky? Let me see everybody do their Mr. Wacky then.
All right.
Are you doing it at home? Everyone do the Mr. Wacky. It's the new whippin' nay-nay. Amazing. That's where the segment ends for the most part. He says one more line, but honestly, just him finishing it with the Mr. Wacky it's enough. It's good enough. Dave, thank you. And thank you, Good Morning San Diego.
What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I came across this clip that actually aired on television, and I wanted to kind of break it down for you all and just let you know that it exists. So let's go ahead and start this shit.
You know, I've been up all night and I'm a little bit exhausted.
You are?
Yeah. I'm kind of sleepy too, to be honest with you.
Whitney, you tired? I'm so tired. You know, it's crazy. Like, I've been such an insomniac and I have not slept in I don't know how long. I feel like we should just take a power nap or something.
So the judges pretend to be overcome with drowsiness and just sleepiness has hit them like a fucking brick. Oh, I have insomnia for the last 5 nights. I just toss and turn all night. I just can't sleep, wondering who's putting the plastic tips on the shoelaces. Who is it? Who's that hero with no name? And then the contestants are very clearly and understandably uncomfortable during this because it's like something a fucking elementary school would put on for a little skit in front of the class. The music sounds like something out of the Nintendo 64 Toy Story game. The acting looks like something out of a fucking Tommy Wiseau film. Really, the whole thing just makes the contestants and the audience watching it at home just feel uneasy.
It's a great idea. Marvelous idea.
Let's catch some Z's.
Now they whip out these eucalyptus-looking ass pillows, so you know this is something they've clearly rehearsed a few times, and for some reason no one spoke up, no one had the gall to speak up and say that this is not a really good idea and it wouldn't come across all that well or entertaining. And then for some reason the Dalai Lama just buries his hands in his head. I guess he just didn't want to use a pillow, that's just how he rolls.
Angel, I can't get comfortable.
I can help you catch some Z's.
Who are you?
Oh gee willikers, it looks like they're having a hard time catching those Z's, but luckily for them, the Australian Josh Turner just happened to be in the neighborhood, and he knows just how to remedy this situation.
I'm a shepherd. One of the best ways to catch Z's is to count sheep.
The claim he's making is not supported by scientific evidence.
That's a great idea. One sheep.
So here's some fucking sheep. Let's count all 2 of them now. This is where it really drives home that this is not some spur-of-the-moment stupid charade that the judges decided to pull at the last second. This is something that they decided to do well in advance and planned for and prepared for. They had to get in contact with a wildlife delivery service to get these fucking sheep over here and get permission from the executives to use these sheep in the studio. I would be embarrassed if I was one of those sheep. I'd be like, damn, I don't want to be counted on this show right now for this stupid play they're putting on. I'd be driving a real hard bargain. You can take my wool, you can take my meat, but you can't take my dignity. I am a sheep, and I was meant for a lot more than this.
Hey, I think it's working. I'm catching a Z. I got a Z too.
I'm catching Z's too.
Now they're all literally catching Z's, isn't that so clever? And then the contestants are putting on a real fake smile, just counting the seconds until this is over.
Catching Z's?
Alright, let's go right above you.
Big reveal, New Zealand, baby. Yeah, that's what this whole thing was about. What better way to get everyone invested and energized than pretending to be asleep and out of energy for the last minute as you were putting on this charade? But do you get the joke? It was a play on words, cause Zealand, Z, catching Z's, sleep, shit. Mind-boggling. Now, I do understand why they went through this whole song and dance. They had good intentions. They wanted to hype up the trip a little bit. But they did the exact opposite. You know, if they wanted to play off the Z, do something cooler, like really double down on it, like Dragon Ball Z. Have like someone kick through a wall or something and then start shredding on a guitar. Or maybe have ZZ Top give a surprise performance. Everybody's crazy about a sharp-dressed man down a poo. And then they like explode and then New Zealand brochures just scatter around throughout the studio. Or maybe have someone swinging on a rope or something, and he could be carrying a sheep since you've already committed to this whole sheep act. You already got the sheep over there, you might as well use them. So he just swings it on a rope. He's got like well, you can't have 2 sheep because then how the fuck would he be swinging with his mouth? So he has a sheep in one hand, and he just starts tossing sheep at the judges. Like, oh shit, catch the sheep. Yeah, sheep, yeah, Just, you know, dropping sheeps and shit. Just have something with more energy. Just understand that you made it a lot less interesting than it could have been. And you created a very uncomfortable situation for your contestants and the viewers at home.